Hi, my name is Shruti Banda, and this presentation will be on part 2 of my research on open source technology. So what do these three things have in common? Wikipedia, Coca-Cola, and EMRs. These three things might seem like very different products, but they actually have one big thing in common. And that happens to be that they all utilize a certain kind of software. For examples of software include Internet Explorer, Microsoft Office, Adobe Photoshop, and Mozilla Firefox. These three things actually all utilize something called open source technology. This is something that is publicly accessible to anyone, and therefore anyone can access and modify this type of technology. So what can you learn from this presentation? First of all, what is open source technology? What are other kinds of source softwares? Who benefits from open source technology? Why do people prefer it? And what are the applications of this type of software? So first of all, what is open source technology? Open source refers to anything that can be modified and shared because it is publicly accessible. Open source software is one whose source code is available for modification or enhancement by anyone. A computer source code is the part of the software that users don't see that allows programmers to change how a program or application works. So, therefore, other programmers who have access to source code can improve that program by adding features or fixing parts that aren't working. Some examples of open source include Moodle, Python, and Mozilla Firefox. What are other kinds of source softwares? Some software has source code that can't be modified by anyone outside the group that created it or the person that created it. This kind of software is called proprietary software or closed source software. Some examples of closed source software includes Microsoft Word, Adobe Photoshop, and all Apple software. So in order to use this kind of software, computer users must agree by signing a license the first time that they use it, that they will not do anything with the software that the authors have not allowed. So who benefits from open source technology? Open source can have benefits to both computer programmers and non-programmers alike. Since the internet itself uses many open source technologies, anyone who actually uses the internet can get the benefits from using this kind of software. For example, things like viewing web pages, chatting with people online, checking your email, playing multiplayer video games, and streaming music all actually involve open source software. So why do people prefer open source software? Some benefits include having more control over the technology, allowing for better studying and feedback, better security, and better quality. So first is control. Using open source software gives people more control since they have the option of examining the code that they're using to make sure that it is not doing anything that they don't want it to, and it also allows them to change parts that they don't like. Others prefer open source software because it allows them to study what others have done and get feedback on their own work. This is especially beneficial to computer programmers because they can study how other programmers create their code, and they can also get feedback from people who are more knowledgeable in the area. Open source technology is also considered to be more secure and stable than proprietary software. This is because since the software is accessible to anyone, this gives more chance for people to catch and fix errors that maybe the original authors did not catch the first time. Open source software is also higher in quality because it can be fixed, updated, and upgraded more quickly and more easily. So anyone can look at the software and change things that need to be changed. So what are the applications of open source software? As mentioned before, things like Wikipedia, beverage recipes, and electronic medical records. So Wikipedia is an example where anyone can view and edit a web page. In the area of beverages, cola soft drinks similar to Coca-Cola and Pepsi have open source recipes that are developed by volunteers. And the taste of these drinks is actually said to be comparable to that of standard drinks. In the area of medicine, OpenEMR is an electronic health records and medical practice management application that uses open source. It includes things like the health records, practice management, scheduling, and billing that can be accessed by and contributed to by anyone in the medical practice. So now we will just have a review of what was discussed in this presentation. Open source software is one whose source code that can be accessed and changed by anyone, not just the original authors. It is different from closed source software in the sense that anyone can access it, and also in terms of the licensing agreements involved. Open source is useful for both computer programmers and non-programmers alike, and it also has many benefits, including control, security, and better quality. And it also has many applications in real life. So the future of open source looks very promising. It is becoming more and more common in today's world. And in the future, many more applications are likely to come that will make life more efficient and probably easier for many people. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.